Okay guys, we are inside of the 2023 Mazda 3 Turbo Hatchback right here. And like I just showed you guys on the full tour, we had a really cool look on the interior and the exterior of this awesome hatchback right here. And outside it is finished in the stunning shade of Soul Red Crystal Metallic, which is one of my favorite colors from Mazda. Check this out. I think this is a fantastic looking hatchback. It looks sweet in this color. Black wheels, they get a little dirty, showing a lot of like the brake dust and stuff. But nonetheless, I think this thing just looks epic at night as well. Check this out. On the full review, of course, I take you on a full tour of everything inside and outside. Space issues, there are some space issues in the rear seats, but otherwise, I think this is a fantastic car. This one's fully loaded right now, so up in the 30s. But if you're willing to spend that much money, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment and I think a lot of premium quality for your money. It is chilly out today, 38 degrees, dropping rapidly, and we have heated seats, a heated steering wheel as well. And I'm going to throw on the defogger just because this window likes to fog up quite a bit. Awesome. So you can see we have our 360 cameras right there. Those always pop up when you turn the vehicle on. You can adjust them or see the different views right there, which is pretty easy. Some prompts from the infotainment system. And we do have Apple CarPlay as well, which I usually just throw on. It's pretty helpful. Yeah, and it's a pretty nice interior. This is all black. I wish we had a different color, but that's what we're getting here. So let's take this thing on a drive. Now, 6-speed automatic gearbox, and we have our 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine under the hood. Now I did put premium gas in today, finally. 93 octane, a little expensive to what the price is right now, but it does definitely give you that 250 horsepower, 320 pound-feet of torque, and that's a lot in this tiny little hatchback. You do have all-wheel drive, no manual option. Now these tires are not my favorite. These Bridgestone tires, I just don't think they really give you the best grip out of this car, especially in terms of corners and everything, but it doesn't really hurt the ride. The ride in this car is actually fantastic, but we'll talk about that when we get on the drive. We'll get further onto our drive. Now, off the bat, you're going to notice it's really, really quiet in here, and that's because Mazda kind of like double sealed all of the openings, from the doors to the hood to the rear hatch. There's 2 different layers of seals going on there to make sure that you have a nice, quiet experience. And I think that's really fantastic. It really does give you a really quiet driving experience. Now, that also carries over to the highway. Higher speeds on the highway, it is so silent here. You don't really hear wind noise. Like I'm so used to hearing wind noise in some of these vehicles, and it's just so loud and obnoxious that like it's kind of like non-existent here, and I really do like that. It's busy up here today. Let's head out. Now, that's real engine noise you're hearing right now. I can pop into sport mode, and unfortunately Mazda does throw in a little bit of some fake engine noise to the speakers. I believe that's actually piped in from the under the hood, some intake sounds, and I really do love the sound of this engine. It has this really deep, throaty experience. It doesn't even sound like a 4-cylinder, honestly. It has this really unique sound. I do like it, and all the Mazda turbo engines offer that, and you can pretty much get them in any of their vehicles at this point, which is really, really cool. Now, big highlights with the driving experience for the Mazda 3 Turbo, and just the Mazda 3 platform in general has really been one of my favorite vehicles to drive. Now, Mazda did cut costs. They cut a little cost by putting that torsion beam rear suspension setup up in the back, ditching the old multi-link setup. But I have to say, if you didn't know it was a torsion beam, you wouldn't be able to tell. Mazda engineered it and tuned it really, really well, so you don't really ever have to like notice that that's there, and could be hampering the experience, which I don't think it does. Now, essentially what a torsion beam is, there's a solid beam connecting the 2 wheels, and that kind of acts as your rear suspension setup versus having 2 independent multi-link setups back there. It's typically you find it on cheaper economy cars, but they did that to kind of give you the really nice luxury experience that you're getting with the rest of this vehicle. Now, the other big highlight of this other than it actually handling pretty well, is this steering system is fantastic. It's one of the few steering systems on the market that will still give you really solid feedback to your hands, which I love, and you know where the front wheels are pointed at and what's happening with them all the time, and I really do love that. And this road is really fantastic. Now, I have heard that you can actually pop off traction control and then you turn it into sport mode. So you get more revs from the gearbox, shifts happen a little bit quicker, the car's a little bit more alert all the time. There's a hidden launch control mode when you operate this in sport mode with traction control off, and you pop it into manual mode, which we'll test out in a little bit. But the handling is generally really good. Now, brakes could be a little bit stronger. We'll just change this over to this view right here. And I don't know if you guys can see the heads-up display on camera, but it's really nice. Turn in is pretty good. Now, it does still feel very front-wheel drive, even though it does have an all-wheel drive system. But Mazda's technology and software really does distribute the power properly, and they have this thing called G vectoring control, which you don't ever notice and you're not supposed to notice. And it essentially, when you're coming in and out of corners, it will manage the brakes, the torque of the engine, and the power, and distribute it to all the wheels to kind of give you that tighter feeling in the corners and be able to kind of shoot you and rocket you out of the corners without you ever really feeling it. So it's really, really impressive, and I think it works well because this car does handle pretty nicely. Now, I do have to say, it's not like a crazy hot hatch. It's not like a GTI or a Type R or an Elantra N or any of those things. Like if you're going into this thinking that's what you're getting, you're not going to be happy, because that's not what this vehicle is. This vehicle, the Mazda 3 Turbo, especially with its Premium Plus package, is a luxurious, or I would say more premium, hatchback experience with that dash of sportiness there. So you have that power when you want it. You have a really well-balanced, very nicely tuned chassis and steering inputs, and suspension, shockingly, is actually very good, even though with that torsion beam. It's just a very refined, like, luxurious experience, and I think it's a very personal experience as well, because you can't really fit that many people in here. We have a really beautiful sunset tonight, and you just have that power when you need it, like I said, and it holds gears in sport mode really, really well. You can hear that right now. That's awesome. Love that they do that. And the paddle shifters work too. Brakes, I do wish could be a little bit stronger, but like I said, this is not a high performance vehicle. It's just a sporty, well refined, well tuned hatchback, and I think at this price point and for what you're getting, for what it is, it's really fantastic. I mean, I am honestly looking to get one of these right now. I do love it that much, because personally I don't want something so harsh and so hardcore. Like the ride, sure, it's a little stiffer than I think your average vehicle, but it's not back-breaking. The seats are very comfortable, bumps and everything is very well damped and tuned out, so you never really have to worry about that. So I think they really did manage all that really, really well. Take a quick U-turn for you guys here. And the 6-speed does shift pretty quickly for what it is. Now, of course, it is an older gearbox, and Mazda's a little restricted to what they can do, as they build everything in-house. This is their engine. This is their gearbox. And yes, we're working on a new engine and new gearbox, obviously coming in the new SUVs. I think it's an 8-speed now. I think it's also a dual clutch. So it's a big upgrade from us. So I'm really excited to see how that kind of handles and drives, but we're gonna have to wait to see for that. So yeah, I'm excited. Mazda's doing a lot of great things right now, and the 3, especially in this turbo hatchback form, is one of my favorite vehicles on the road. Are you gonna let me go, guy? Okay, thank you. And you also have the luxury, I guess, of having these driver control systems. I am not a big fan of them. I think that's Mazda's weak point. Now, I don't like using them in general, and so it's kind of difficult to kind of like just bash on them, but from the other systems I've used, this is not my favorite system right here. I think the main reason why is just that it's a little too safe even. So when you put it, let me just turn sport mode off. When you put it into your cruise control setting, I think that radar cruise works fine, but you do have distance control, and even with the shortest distance, I think it's really, really far ahead, I mean, really far behind the car in front of you. I think that's a little unusual. I've tried some other systems, such as Subaru's eyesight system and a few other systems from companies, and I think they work a little bit better, especially, well, actually a lot better for Subaru's aspect, as well as Hyundai systems are pretty good as well. Now this also has lane keep assist, which honestly I find is really intrusive. So if I just kind of dive out this lane, it'll tug you back in. You can see it right there, and it'll vibrate the steering wheel, and it'll also give you some warnings over there on your heads-up display and your digital center console. And I do like this this version of the screen here. This is kind of like your safety system screen, so it kind of shows you the vehicle in it, and it can kind of show you the lanes and markings and stuff. Now with that steering assist, the steering assist unfortunately only works up to 40 miles an hour, so it's kind of meant as like a traffic jam assistant, so it can kind of like steer you along. And that, of course, you have to keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times, but it doesn't work above 40 miles an hour. I think that's really unfortunate. Subaru system works, I think, well, actually I know it works all the time. Subaru steering system, it's actually pretty good with eyesight cameras, and of course there are more advanced systems on the market as well. So if there's one area where this car is kind of lacking, I would say it's that, but it's definitely not a reason to not get this vehicle. I wouldn't even care about that, honestly. There's a lot of other really great aspects to the Mazda 3 Turbo Hatchback that completely make that go away. And just going around these twisty corners on this mountain road over here, it's just balanced. I think the best word is just balanced, smooth, and comfortable, while also having that performance-y edge to it, which I do like. We also have automatic headlights, which is a really nice luxury feature. Automatic headlights, steering headlights as well, so they turn with the steering wheel, which is really cool. Full LED, which I love. And they're pretty bright at night. Yeah, I mean, there really isn't anything I have bad to say about this experience. Now, I won't lie, I'm a bit of a Mazda fanboy right now, and I do really like this vehicle, but other than the small space on the interior, which is, I think, is a big drawback for a lot of people, unfortunately, there's really nothing bad about this car. Everything just works well. The infotainment system's super easy to use, like while you're driving, even if you have to use it with the scroll wheel. And it may take, I don't know, a day of getting adjusted to it, but once you do, it just works so well. You never really want to go back to a touchscreen where you have to like fiddle with a whole bunch of different menus and stuff and kind of take your eyes off the road. This is right here. It's right in your line of sight, and that's why Mazda did it like this. I personally like it a lot. So yeah, guys, I'm just gonna wrap up this drive of the Mazda 3 Turbo Hatchback, because I'm gonna go take it out and drive it a little bit more, because I'm just having such a good time with it. But thank you guys for joining me on this drive, and stay tuned for a lot more coming soon from Allcarnews. And let me know what you guys think in the captions and descriptions. What you think of the Mazda 3 Turbo Hatchback? Would you buy it? Would you think it's something for you? Or is it just not for your taste? Because it's not for everyone's taste, I could definitely tell you that.